the chair basically will be something like this. You got your armrest, you got your seat coming down, that's a log, then another log here for your backrest, and then your armrest will tie in here and hold the backrest up so it doesn't move around. And that's one side. So you make two of these, and then when you're looking at it from the front, you see something like this, I suppose. So my armrest is going back here, and I have a piece for my backrest, and I need a cross piece from here to here, and I need one in the front as well, and then this, okay, will be my backrest. But normally the backrest on an Adirondack chair, if you're looking at it from the top, it has a curvature to it. And then you have your armrest, and then you have your seat, tip of your seat, and this is your backrest, and this is your seat, right? And that would be the extending pieces from here to here is what you see here. And if you look at the top, you see these two posts. But I still have to tie those two together, so I really don't know how it's going to turn out. I apologize for the long introduction, but the sooner I get on with it, the more I can learn by my mistakes or nail it on the first try. So these logs, I've been in the shop for like a year now, half a year, and what I did was, when I got these, they were too small to actually make boards, so I just peeled them and left them there to dry. Those two have been sitting outside for a year, while these were sitting inside for a year. So you see the difference, right? Stored lumber and unstored lumber. This is weathered, but underneath that skin is probably still yellow lumber, right? So I'm looking for the same dimension of log so I can do the both sides like I was talking to you about. So if I take the largest piece of this stump here and I split it in half, if I split that stump in half, I'm going to get two paddles for my armrests out of that stump from here to here. Okay? And from here to here, I'm going to get the if you look on the board, I'm going to get this piece out of it here, right here. That's what I'm going to get out of that. And then the two smaller pieces, which will be the ends of the log here, from here to here, that will be my backrest. Okay, so I'm going to try to see if these will stand up straight. This one does. I'm okay with this one. And this one, the butt end is over here and it doesn't. So I gotta try to get this to fit, to stand up straight, right? And I'm not gonna cut the height right away because normally I make them 20 inches off the ground, and that's with 1-inch dimensional lumber. There's no way that half the curvature of a log is dimensional, so I might be going down to 18 or cupping this out so I can actually screw into it. I don't know yet. This is an Adirondack chair bottom cord piece. This is what I use, and you can see this would be like this, off the ground, and my seat's over here, and here's where I put a piece where I can tie my backrest onto it, right? And if I'm sitting, putting it here up on the table, you see the angle at which it stands. So this front leg, which I just cut, is normally 20 inches, right? So my hind legs should be just as long as these pieces. And this is the tricky part. I'm not sure from what piece I should get it from. So my paddles, or my armrests, these are normally the paddles for my armrest, right? You're sitting down, right? That's the shape of it. But my armrest should be just as long on this piece, and if I cut this So I just finished cutting my armrest, or arm rests with an S, plural. And now this piece, this has to be part of the leg, I think, still. See, this is deceiving, because when I have this on the ground here, my leg goes up here and my paddle sticks out front. But this is not what's happening here. I have to put it here and have my paddle out front. So I need longer than whatever's there. But how much longer? And I'm guessing, yeah, you heard me right, I'm guessing around 5 inches longer, 5 to 6 inches longer. So I'm going to cut the bottom portions of these off. Label and cut your pieces to an approximation. Steps to follow, I guess. Number. All right. One leg, one cross member. I'm wondering if I need 2 or just 1 cross member. That's going to depend on how many bores I can get out of that lumber. bottom cord. And I have to angle it like this. I'm just going to show you what I'm thinking about right now. A few blocks here to sort of get it off the ground. That's going to be about the height. Okay? And this is touching the ground. I don't know how high I need my knee rest area, right? I made it 13, I made it 14. There. An inch more. Around 14 inches off the ground. So I'm just leveling out the feet right now, so. It's not that easy. Teetering. I'll let you see what I'm looking at over here. So I prepped the log. Like I sanded down the knots. And sorry about the clarity. Right? And this is what I got to notch out on an angle. And I actually marked it which leg it was here. And if you look on the bottom here, there's less to take off here, like half an inch compared to that. Okay. I'm afraid I'm sawing into the cord here. I'm taking off a fairly big chunk of lumber here. And I do believe that a dowel, I either have to chisel out the pieces or I can maybe use a drill to do it. And that's what I was hoping. I have a screw type drill, and I do believe I can I can use it here. If this works, it's going to be my go-to combination. I have some of these drills. Okay. And they have a screw at the end, right? So if I just tap into that core that I'm drilling out with the hole saw, okay, I just drill a little bit, crack it off, and then drill the next one. Drilling. I have bottomed out. Now let's see if this can crack it. Helping. I'm still going to have to use a chisel. I was hoping I could get it in one shot type of deal, but I'm going to have to chisel it out. So this is going to be a little bit time consuming. Okay, so I have my drill here and I'm going in here at the end of the log, okay, and it's pretty tricky to try to get things to go straight down, right? So I'm thinking maybe you drill the hole first and then you go with a alignment dowel, right? Alright, so I gotta make some dowels now before I can go any farther. So I have a 2x4 over here. It's got some knots in it, but it's almost there, so that'll less whittling around on the lathe to get this down to 1 3/4. Okay, now center drill at the ends of this so that I can put it in the tailstock with the live center, right? These weigh about, I don't know, 25-ish, something like that. 25 pounds. And I sort of had to, when I first got delayed, I did run out on it to see where the best position would be on the chuck, and I stamped it, right? And I'm looking for the stamp. This might be it right there. Yeah, that's it. Close, but not there. Just a little more. So I just finished making the dowels. I made 10 of them just in case I mess one up or two. And next I am going to actually connect the bottom cord of the seat, or the seat member, to the leg. Okay, and once I've done that, I'm going to have to set it up in a manner in which I can actually flip it up against the floor, and then drill my hole at 90 degrees to the bottom member, right? So I got to get those right on and do the final touch, or the adjustment of the backrest with the armrest. Alright, so I finished the dowels, and as you can tell, see, like the holes I had drilled in, and it's holding it with a 1 3/4 dowel. Okay, that's my seat. Now, the tricky part is I have to get this as it would be sitting on the ground, which I'm pretty darn close right there. Okay, and this, I need this as a reference. Okay, and now all I have to do is angle that out 90 degrees, and I have to notch it out and then put a dowel in there. Okay. So now I have to notch that out. Here. Notch that out. Set up my sawzall. oscillating tool would do a good job of notching this out. If I do start making these, like sort of like a production line, I gotta make me a bench that's able to clamp all sorts of logs, right? So if I had two 2x6s here with some rug on it or some rubber, all I need is one screw going across it, and right, I can clamp both ends of my logs and then work away at them without them spinning on me or doing all sorts of funky stuff. So I got to think about that as I go along. All right. Now, see if I can't make something of this. I'm sitting down on it to sort of keep it steady. That is hard on the butt. Alright, so I've drilled the hole through the bottom seat cord and this piece. I don't know if I should call it a cord or a stringer, but the bottom seat support for the slats. And my hole is right here. That's where it's going at. That's where the axis of the hole is. And so now, this is 5/16. I couldn't find a drill bit this long in 1/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to chase this with 1/4 of an inch because that's the same bit that's on my, my core drill here. Okay. So I'm still going to check to make sure that I think I went deeper than this with the so I'm still good. The trajectory's fine. So now this is where a bench would come in handy, right? I just have to shove it in with my hips, but I can't do that here. So next thing, I'm going to sit on it. Alright, so a little 15 minutes later, here it is. So if you notice, this would be the ground, right? And that's my backrest, that's my leg, and that's my seat cord. And what I noticed was, this is pretty long. What I could do to actually, just get my tape out. What I could do is actually shrink this a bit, like here, bring it down 2 or 3 inches here, if not more, increase the angle over here, and here, either leave it like that, because I don't know what it's going to be like just yet, or maybe bring it over that way a bit and put my seat cord on top here and bring the other one just here, so my seat still has a nice positioning. And I've shortened the length of the chair so it doesn't look strange. I don't know if it's going to look strange yet, but my idea is I think it is a little bit too long, but I don't know yet. So I'm cutting these at a more manageable length. I just cut this one over here, and I just cut that one there, which maybe I shouldn't have in case I make a boo-boo, but I did. So okay. So once again, this goes at 12, and there should be a pencil mark over here. Make sure this is it. Yep, it is. And wherever it lands on the ground, it's pretty much. So there's an angle to this. So I forgot, I can't drill that right away before I actually notch it, right? I'm going to try notching this. There's a right side and a wrong side to this. Gotta try it. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Not quite there, but better. Alright, so that's it for today. I don't know if this is day 2, day 3. So I've got that done. And that one's done. And they're all lined up, the backrest and everything. So now I'm gonna come over here and I gotta split this in half and make an armrest with it. 2 armrests actually. And over here I gotta cut these cross members to a certain width, and I can't mix them up. Alright, so little by little I am going to take off these knots and try to put it through the bandsaw without it spinning on me. The height seems to be okay, but the surface finish, right? I'm going to sand most of this down, and here, like I said, I'm going to fill this up with either epoxy and sawdust or glue and sawdust, and glue this back together, then sand it down. Because if this peels off, I gotta take 1/4 of an inch off of this, and it's too much. Alright, so now I got to measure between those things and get 20 3/4 and try to set this up so it works. So if I'm sitting down, this would be okay, but the angle on the backrest might be too steep. So I've taken off a little bit to try to make the joints a little tighter, and it seems to be working. Right, these are a lot tighter than they were before, and now I got to chop that top off and do the same to the other side. Okay, so I came up with an idea. If this is a blind hole in the log, and I cut a notch for a wedge on both ends, when I drive that dowel inside the log, I'm going to create wedging action at the bottom of the hole. With glue and everything else, I'll have a fighting chance of keeping that thing solid, right? I'm trying to avoid screws and lads as much as possible. So, wedge the dowel in, I get wedging action, and it wedges on the side of the blind hole. And at the other end, I'm going to take a measurement and try to get it as close as possible. And when I cut this dowel hole and I drive it in, that's going to be inside the surface, and then I just have to wedge it on the outside as well with glue. And I'll do everything at the same time, quickly, and then try to assemble it as fast as I can. I'll wait on the outer dowels till the end, right? So that way, in case I have to sort of wiggle it around, you have like 15 minutes of tack time before it starts getting all solid on you, right? 15 to half an hour, depending on the glue manufacturer. Okay. I gotta get this somewhat done on. Alright, so I've notched it into the log, and I'm gonna cut me up some blocks to put underneath to keep the height level on it. Good to go right there. That's where my seat slats are going to go. What I'm looking at here. If you see the notch here at the end of the tape, you can't see it from this side, can you? I'll have to go over here. So that's the saw mark. And I'm just going to take a square like this. Transfer the mark up here, and this piece is going to get removed, and that's where I'm going to screw in my seat slats into. Okay, so I'm going to try running this through the joiner again. On flat. Flat, I can run it in the pencil. That was my main goal, doing that. So I'm going to set my armrests to one side. I try to get the center of the log. It's right in the heart. Here. And here. Right there. Turn it around. Find half. Alright, so I found another piece. I lucked out. So I'm just going to saw this at 26 inches. has to be removed.